Before I get in this video, I gotta make sure I do a disclaimer. This is strictly a video discussing public policy around schools reopening. I'm not making any claims about the virus. I'm not making any claims about anything. Everything that the CDC says should be followed in terms of safety guidelines and things of that nature. Guys, credit what credit is due here, right? Credit what credit is due. Because as soon as the impeachment trial was over, the mainstream media, including CNN and MSNBC, right? Some of MSNBC has flipped the switch on not only just the Biden administration, but just the Democrats in general, right? We see it happening with Cuomo. Now, what you're going to see in this interview, they're coming after the Biden administration for their promises in terms of opening up schools, and now them pulling back on those promises, mainly due to the fact that teachers' unions don't want to go back to school. Teachers don't want to go back to school. Okay? They don't want to go back to in-person learning. Right? And these teachers' unions have bought and sold the Biden administration. Okay? They've been bought and sold. Right? So, real quick, just so you have an idea of how bought and sold the Biden administration is by teachers' union, let's read this from opensecrets.org, which is basically a website that tracks all the donations to politicians and campaigns, right? Let's just read this. In the 2020 election cycle, the country's most influential teachers unions did endorse and support Biden and Democrat Senate candidates over their Republican counterparts. The American Federation of Teachers donated $2 million to Priorities USA Action, a Democratic super PAC that spent $44.2 million supporting Biden. The National Education Association gave $500,000 to Take Back 2020, another Democratic super PAC that spent $6.4 million to run ads supporting Biden. The AFT also gave $175,000 to Take Back 2020. Teachers unions spent a total of $43.7 million in 2020, more than any previous year. Much of that went to outside spending on campaigns and other campaign materials rather than direct contributions to candidates. In 2016, teachers unions spent a total of $36 million, with around $30 million on outside spending. In 2020, the outside spending jumped to almost $38 million. All right, guys, so as you can see, the whole Democrat Party has been bought and sold by teachers unions, right? Teachers unions have spent millions on Democrat politicians. And that's why I try to tell you guys, if you want to see a politician do a trick, all you got to do is buy one, right? If you want a politician to actually do their job and to get something done, just buy them, okay? And this interview between Symone Sanders, who's a part of the woke wing of the Biden administration, one of his advisors to a certain extent, in which, you know, all these woke people look alike, right? I don't know. I'm just noticing that. It's just funny to me. They all seem to look alike. But Symone Sanders in this interview is going to be asked a very simple question. Does Joe Biden think that teachers need to be vaccinated in order for schools to reopen safely? Right? It's a very, very simple question. Okay? Because the CDC guidelines and what people are saying is that, you know, for the most part, if you just social distance and you follow the rules, right, the guidelines they have in place, then schools should be able to open safely, even with high community spread. Now, that's a summary of the argument, right, that is being used by those who want schools to open up, right? They're using the CDC and what they're saying in their guidance regarding opening schools against Joe Biden, because the Biden campaign is supposed to have been so pro-science, right? They're like, oh, we're going to follow the science, except when the science goes against the teachers union. So let's watch this interview here, and you can see how much she just cannot answer the question because of how bought and sold the administration is on this topic. It's really a shame.
It's not a trick question, and I feel like you guys have treated it like a trick question. I think people just want to know what the White House position is on whether or not teachers have to be vaccinated for kids to return safely to school. The CDC director, Rochelle Walensky, says the science is that teachers don't necessarily have to be vaccinated for kids to return. And I think people want to know what the White House position is on that.
The White House position is that and the president and vice president believe that teachers should be prioritized for receiving the vaccination along with other frontline workers. And in at least 22 states in the District of Columbia, that's exactly what's happening.
Prioritize is one thing, and I think there's wide agreement they should be prioritized, and why not? Is it necessary, though? That's the question. It really is a yes-no question.
Well, John, I think the real question, frankly, if I can be frank here, is what you're getting to is it safe for kids to go back to school? And the president and vice president...
Actually not. In this case, that's not the question. The question is it safe for teachers to go back to school? And that's a very specific question in this case. And again, I'm not sure... I don't understand why it's a hard question to answer.
Well, let me tell you why it's a hard question to answer, John. It's a hard question to answer because they've been bought and sold by teachers' unions who don't want to go back to school. If the Biden administration comes out and says, hey, we think that it's safe for teachers to go back to school even if they aren't vaccinated, that statement is in direct opposition against the teachers' unions, because the teachers' unions are saying that it's not safe to go back to school. Right? It's not safe because we haven't all been vaccinated. Right? In my opinion, honestly, I'm not buying it. Right? And the reason why is because, one, it's not mandatory for teachers to get vaccinated. Right? What about those teachers who don't want to get vaccinated? Right? And if you know that it's about vaccination, teachers can just decide that, hey, if we all get vaccinated, they're going to make us go back to work. Right? We're going to have to actually start going into school and interacting with students again. What if we just don't get vaccinated? Again, there's a perverse incentive here for teachers just to refuse to get vaccinated because they don't want to go back to work. Right? And at the end of the day, that's what this comes down to, in my opinion. Right? I'm not saying that some of it's not about safety. Obviously, some teachers just want to feel safe. But I've got a gut feeling that a lot of teachers just don't want to go back to in-person learning, period. I mean, you're sitting at home getting paid to teach kids online. Right? This is a teacher's dream. What's happening right now. So, of course, they don't want to go back to dealing with, kids and students in classrooms when they can continue to do this. So, I mean, this question is very important to answer. So, if you don't think it's safe, then, hey, you know what? You're with the teachers unions, and that's fine. But don't say that you're following the science anymore. You can't claim that anymore. Okay? If you do think it's safe, then now you have an issue with the teachers unions. So the Biden administration is in a very peculiar position because they've been bought and sold by teachers unions. It's actually really funny to see the mental gymnastics coming from this administration on this subject.
It may be that you want every teacher to be vaccinated. It may be the answer is, yeah, teachers should, if they can, be vaccinated before they return to school, but it's not necessary.
Well, John, I think the president has been clear, the vice president has been clear, and I think I was really clear just now that it is the administration's position, the president and vice president believe that teachers should be prioritized for vaccinations. And in 22 states, at least, and the District of Columbia, that's exactly what is happening. Look.
I'll try one last time. Does the president feel that teachers have to be vaccinated in order for schools to open safely? Yes or no?
The president believes that teachers should be prioritized for vaccination. His wife, Dr. Biden, the first lady, is a teacher. He knows the importance of teachers being in the classroom. The president and vice president also know, John, that teaching for many people is not just what they do, it is who they are. It is a calling. And teachers want to be in the classroom.
No, they don't. Teachers don't want to be in the classroom. Because if they want to be in the classroom, they'd be in the classroom. Right? Like, you wouldn't have this issue. This whole issue is about teachers not wanting to be in classrooms. That's what it comes down to. It's not about the science, right? It's about the fact that these teachers unions who represent these teachers who don't want to go back to work have bought and sold the Biden administration, and they bought and sold Symone Sanders, right? She's bought and sold. And she's supposed to be one of these super woke people, right? That the progressives love and that the left loves, that's supposed to be, so good and all this. And you can see right now that she's going through her mental gymnastics, not answering questions, because she knows that the administration has been bought and sold, that she's been bought and sold. Okay? That's how politics works, guys. That's how you see these people fumbling and stumbling on TV in terms of what to say and not answering a simple question. It's a very simple question. Do teachers all need to be vaccinated to go back to school? Does the Biden administration think that? It's a yes or no question. It's a yes or no question. But yet she has to talk about everything, including woke stuff about, oh, Jill Biden's a teacher. Like, what does that have to do with anything? That has nothing to do with the question. Because she doesn't have an answer. She doesn't have a good answer for it.
Parents want students in the classroom, and we want to do so safely and operating according to the science.
All right, I'm not going to get a yes or no on that. Minimum.
No, and you don't want to operate according to the science. You don't care about the science. Because if you care about the science, you would simply just say, hey, you know what? According to the science, it may be safe to reopen even if all teachers aren't vaccinated. However, we have to keep in mind how comfortable teachers feel being in classrooms and potentially getting exposed. So, while we want to reopen schools, we want to make sure that all the CDC guidelines are being followed and that all the mitigation strategies are being followed to make sure that it is safe and that teachers are comfortable. Okay? I feel like that would have been the proper finesse. Right? Right? That would have been the proper finesse. That's how I would have finessed that. Okay? But at the end of the day, I mean, again, to me, I think the most important issue is money in politics, right? As you guys see, that's how powerful money in politics is, guys, right? This administration promised we're going to follow everything to the T when it comes to science. We're going to let the science guide everything, right? Except the science is not more important than the money, right? Nothing comes before the money. And like I try to tell you guys, if you want to see a politician do a trick, if you want to know why they do what they do, it's always about the money. It's always about the money. It's not about you. It's not about the people. It's not about what policies you want. It's not about that. It's about who got the money, right? And what policies they want, right? That's what it comes down to, right? As you can see here, at least with the Democrats, when it comes to the teachers unions, they just don't want to go back to school. And I got a gut feeling that even after they're all vaccinated, which I think they're going to have a hard time vaccinating all the teachers because all the teachers aren't going to want to get vaccinated because they're going to know what that means is that if we all get vaccinated, okay, there's no more excuses, right, to hold out anymore because we've been vaccinated. They're going to change the standard at that point where they're still probably going to refuse, even after being vaccinated, to go back to school. And that's the situation that Biden's going to end up in. Now, eventually, obviously, schools will open. I think, once public pressure kind of, makes the teachers unions fold, but they're going to have a hard time because teachers unions are very, very, very powerful. And like I said, what's happening right now probably is the strongest argument for school choice that I've seen in a long time, right? In regards to the Republican position, right? At least these private schools, you ain't worried about this, right? You ain't got to worry about this, right? With private schools. Okay, so let me know what you guys think. Is the Biden administration doing this because they bought and sold, or is there something else going on? Let me know your guys' opinion. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.